And XL back with another NFXL podcast, and here's the final piece of my g- trawl, if you like, through the 32 NFL teams. And these are the 10 teams that I think are least likely to make the postseason in 2020, 26, 27 season, and including the two that I think might battle it out to have the first overall pick in the 2027 draft. But let's get to the eight that I think might be 17 and done, first of all. And I'll do these in alphabetical order, starting with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals are in a division that contains three of the best teams in the NFL in the Seahawks, Rams, and 49ers. So being the fourth team is not a place you want to be in that division. But that is where the Cardinals find themselves, and as such seem destined to finish bottom of the NFC West again next season. Long-time starting quarterback Kyler Murray has moved on, as has safety Jalen Thompson, defensive lineman Dalvin Tomlinson and Calais Campbell have also departed. Jacoby Brissett has been joined by Gardner Minshew, and newly drafted Carson Beck in the quarterback room vacated by Murray. Brissett is in negotiations for his contract, which will probably turn out to work out okay. But Beck is probably the only one of the three that can be seen as providing any long-term hope of leading the team to success from the quarterback position. Brissett and Minshew are veterans that are bridge quarterbacks to the next guy, if you like, but I don't see him taking the team to success. Right, outside of the quarterback room, Andrew Wingard replaces Thompson at safety, with Roy Lopez, Andrew Billings, and fourth round draft pick Caleb Proctor filling the holes on the D line, making a defense that ranked 25th against both the pass and the run last season no better than it was last season. Much better news on offense, though, as taking Jeremiah Love at running back in round one gives them a running back who can be one of the very best in the league for years to come. In the second round, they took Chase Rizontis to improve their O line, and he is joined by free agent signings Isaac Sayamalo and Elijah Wilkinson, which should make life easier for Brissett at quarterback, or any other quarterback for that matter, and for Love to enjoy a strong first season at running back. Kendrick Bourne also gives Brissett another receiving option alongside Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, and star tight end Trey McBride. They also added Tyler Algier at running back via free agency, and with James Conner and Trey Benson still on the roster, they're certainly not short of running back options. But the arrival of Love and the improved O line should see their 29th ranked run offense of last season improve plenty. An improvement should also be seen in the passing game, where they ranked 24th last season. But this off-season has the look of one where the Cardinals are putting some pieces in place that they really need before making the big moves to be truly competitive in the NFC West from 2027 onwards. Right, next up, the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers won. The Panthers won the NFC South last season, but were a sub 500 team and will need to improve if they are to hold on to that divisional title. Losing Cade Mays to free agency is a big blow, and neither his replacement Luke Fortner or fifth round draft pick Sam Hecht look like they both look like a big downgrade at the heart of their O line. And with Ika Mekwanu battling injury there too, they spent their first round pick on Monroe Freeling as possible cover to replace him, and also added Rashid Walker via free agency, meaning their O line has a fragile look about it in more than one area. Ashawn Robinson is another loss on their D line, hence why they spent a second round pick on Lee Hunter, with Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips being quality additions at inside and outside linebacker, as well as mid round draft picks Will Lee and Zachy Wheatley adding depth to the secondary. There is reason to believe the Panthers' defense will be better than it was in 2025, where it ranked 11th against the pass and 22nd against the run. But but apart from adding apart from adding Chris Brazil in the third round of the draft, little has been done to improve an offense that ranked 22nd for pass offense and 23rd for run offense. And Rico Dowdle's departure leaves them potentially weaker in terms of run offense, unless long-term injured Jonathan Brooks has a Lazarus type season. With a tougher schedule as division winners, the Panthers look likely to be a sub 500 team again in 2026, and that seems unlikely to be enough to win this division, as they were lucky to do with such a record last season. And then we'll move on to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have had a very, very good off-season. They had a great draft with wide receivers Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston improving that group. Spencer Fano, Austin Barber and Parker Brailsford will do likewise for their O-line. And Emmanuel McNeil Warren looks like a nice pickup at safety on the defensive side. Free agency wise, Wyatt Teller is a loss at guard, but with Zion Johnson, Elton Jenkins, and Titus Howard coming in to join the draft additions they made, their O line will surely be much better in 2026. Another addition was Quincy Williams at inside linebacker. So the Browns have made big efforts to improve an offense that ranked 30th for the pass and 26th for the run last season. The O-line improvement should help them to do so run-wise, and the extra weaponry at wide receiver should do likewise for the passing game, provided they can find somebody to play quarterback to a reasonable level. Deshaun Watson? Question mark. If Watson gets a shot at redemption and flunks it, watch out for sixth-round unicorn Taylor Green getting a shot at some point next season. The Browns should improve in 2026, but they only got 5 wins last season, so getting to 7 or 8 this time might be the best they can hope for. Next up, in teams that won't make the postseason or are less likely to make the postseason, the Green Bay Packers. The Packers face a mighty tough battle to get out of the NFC's North and into the postseason, losing the likes of wide receiver Romeo Dobbs, linebacker Key Walker, offensive lineman Elgton Jenkins, edge guys Rashawn Gary and Kingsley Enagbari are hardly steps in the right direction. Defensive tackle Jonathan Hargrave and inside linebacker Zaire Franklin do something to upset the losses of Gary Walker and Enagbari on the defensive side, but overall still left them looking weaker, as do the losses of Jenkins and Dubes on the offensive side of the ball, meaning unless their 2026 draft crop all have great first season, the Packers look likely to slide down from their offensive and defensive ranking of 14th overall from last season. And in such a competitive division, that could well see them fail to make the postseason. And a similar story might apply to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts were on fire in the first half of the season, but slid badly from there once quarterback Daniel Jones got hurt and the workload took its toll on running back Jonathan Taylor. With Jones back under centre for 2026, that could help them maintain their levels better and also reduce the load on Taylor at the same time. Losing their top wide receiver Michael Pittman, edge Kwity Paye, offensive lineman Braden Smith, safety Nick Cross, and defensive lineman Neville Gallimore left them significant holes to fill this off-season. Veteran Nick Westbrook-Akini was added to fill the void left by Pittman. Whilst NWI may well be able to cover the red zone work of Pittman, he's not going to cover the yardage. So Alec Pierce and Josh Downs and tight end Tyler Warren will need to pick up the bulk of the receptions and yardage that Pittman provided last season. But they may struggle to match the 13th ranking for pass offense that they gained in 2025. Their run offense was touchdown dependent, 10th ranked last season, and that looks about as good as they can hope for in 2026. On defense, Arden Key, Akeem Davis Gaither, Jerry Tillery, Michael Clemens, and Colby Wooden were all added to their front seven to cover the losses of Paye and Gallimore, so could well improve the Colts up front on defense. CJ Allen and Bryce Birchall were also added at inside linebacker via the draft, as was AJ Horsey and a number of depth options in the secondary via free agency. A full season of Sauce Gardner should also help them improve markedly in their secondary, which could which gave up a ton of yardage last season. The pass defense could well be a top half of the league unit next season, and the run defense may rank similarly. But overall, the Colts do not look to have enough to be any more than an 8 or 9 team win for me next season, and that would see them fall short of making the postseason. Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders. I am tempted, Monty Python style, to say he is not the Mafia, he is Fernando Mendoza. The first overall draft pick seems likely to start as backup to free agent vet addition Kirk Cousins, so do not expect an instant transformation of the Raiders' pass offense. They lost edge Michael Coots to free agency, but replaced him with Kwity Paye, then went and got Key Walker and Nakobe Dean to give them a big uplift at inside linebacker, plus Taron Johnson to strengthen their secondary. With Trayden Stoops, Kieran Crawford, Jermod McCoy and Dalton Johnson also coming in on D via the draft. Their pass defense that ranked 20th, 12th last season, I should say, could be a top 10 unit in 2026, and the run defense that ranked 24th last season may also see some improvement. On offense, Tyler Linderbaum is a major addition, and Spencer Burford also comes in as well as a third round draft pick as well as third round draft pick Trey Zoom to upgrade their O line. And the addition of fullback Connor Hayward may be a significant move to go with those in terms of stopping Ashton Giunta getting hit in the backfield, and as a result, providing the big move up the rankings from having the worst run offense in the league last season, which certainly shouldn't have been hung on Junty, who put up some noble efforts. Despite the free agent addition of Jalen Naylor, they still look distinctly weak at wide receiver though, so their pass offense seems likely, I should say, to be ranked outside the top 20 despite the arrivals of Cousins and Mendoza at quarterback. Although they should get better protection than poor old Geno Smith got last season, where he got mullered behind a poor O line. All of which means the Raiders are likely to finish bottom of the AFC West again in 2026, but maybe improve to get 6 or 7 wins. Next up, the New Orleans Saints. In the end, the Saints, once Tyler Shugg took over at quarterback, finished just 2 games out of the NFC South winning mark with 6 wins last season. So in theory, a little improvement could take them a long way in 2026. But I anticipate the Bucks and Falcons improving next season, so it's not as simple as that for the Saints. Cornerback Alontae Taylor, linebacker Demario Davis were very significant losses via free agency. That the replacements Caden Ellis and Martin Emerson look like they leave the Saints weaker in those areas. Second round draft pick Kristen Miller may help them at defensive tackle, though, but for me, their defense is likely to drop from their ninth ranking for pass defense and 13th for run defense of last season, possibly into the bottom half for both. On offense, they will need to see further progression, certainly not regression, from Shug at quarterback. Big free agent addition Travis Etienne at running back gives them a crowded but talented running back room, and the draft additions of Jordan Tyson and Bryce Lance give some much needed support to Chris Olave at wide receiver. They ranked 19th for pass offense and 27th for run offense last season. So whereas the defense might drop towards a mid ranking, the offense may move up to meet them at a similar spot in 2026. So a mid-ranked team all around should finish somewhere around the 7 to 9 win mark, but I think that's unlikely to take the Saints to the postseason and certainly to a divisional title. The New York Giants are up next. As with the Jets, the Giants are likely to make 2026 a better football year in New York. Yes, defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence, wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, cornerback Cordell Flott, and offensive tackle Jermaine Eleanor and tight end Daniel Bellinger were losses they would have preferred not to see go this off-season. But DJ Reader, Shelby Harris, and Lecky Foto all come in at defensive tackle to fill the sexy Dexy gap in their roster. Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin, and the newly drafted Malachi Fields do a similar 3-for-1 fix for Robinson at wide receiver, and they get Malik Neighbors back from injury too. First round draft pick Francis Mauigoa is the Eleanor replacement. Isaiah Likely replaces Bellinger at tight end, whilst Greg Newsom and Ardarius Washington cover the loss of Flott in the secondary. Plenty of free agency flux sees the Giants maybe lose some top end quality, but for me does not weaken them overall. Indeed, they may be a slightly stronger after all that action. Tremaine Edmonds and Patrick Ricard maybe 2 more significant free agent additions they have made too. Draft-wise, they've also added Arvell Reese and Colton Hood, who both look like high-quality additions on defense. The return of Neighbors and the addition of Mooney, Austin, and Likely should see the Giants improve on the 23rd ranking for pass offense next season, maybe to around mid-teens. Whilst with Cam Scatterbo also working his way back from a nasty injury, they should once again be one of the best run offenses in the league in 2026. Defensively, they were okay against the pass, ranking 15th last season, and should be better in 2026. Run defense was a big issue last season, where they ranked a lowly 30th, so they want to hope those free agent changes they have made at defensive tackle and inside linebacker moving up the rankings there. So an excellent off-season for the Giants, and the return of Neighbors and Scatterbo should see a distinct improvement on their 4 wins of 2025. But in a really tough division, getting to 8 or 9 wins would be a superb result for the Giants next season. But they may just do that. So, quick drink. And then we'll get to the two teams that I think are going to vie for the first pick of the 2027 draft. First up, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans managed just 3 wins last season, ranked outside the top 20 for all areas, but particularly bad on offense, ranking 31st for pass offense and 28th for run offense. They have provided more weaponry for an embattled quarterback Cam Ward in the shape of Carnell Tate and Wandale Robinson, but Ward was sacked a league-leading 55 times last season, and the Titans have not made great moves to improve that O-line that provides his pass protection. The Titans are taking the same wrong turn for me that the Giants did for years with Daniel Jones in not sorting out an O-line that can adequately protect a bright young quarterback. And the worry is that Ward, who stood up to the pounding remarkably well in his rookie year, will start to degrade if he is subjected to such punishment again in 2026. They have also done little to improve their run offense, although Nick Singleton was added in round 5 of the draft. They're not short of receiving options, but can Ward stay upright long enough to find them is the question, I think, the answer to which may be no. Daniel Bellinger also looks like a downgrade on Chig Okonkwo at tight end. On defense, they lost outside linebacker Arden Key and defensive end Sebastian Joseph Day to free agency, but added John Franklin Myers, Jordan Elliott, and Jermaine Johnson to their front 5 to replace them, as well as spending their first round draft pick on Keldrick Fault. And with Alontae Taylor and Cordell Flelk coming in to man the corner box slots, all of this should make the Titans a deal better on defense, where they ranked 23rd for pass defense and 28th for run defense last season. But that O-line needs to show huge improvement if the Titans are to be able to mount enough offense for what may be a mid-ranked defense to keep them in games. And I just do not see that happening. And for me, that will condemn them to another poor season and give them another early draft slot in 2027. But the team that might beat them to the first overall pick are the Miami Dolphins. And here's your reasons why. Jalen Waddle, gone. Tyreek Hill, gone. Tua Tagovailoa, gone. Bradley Chubb, gone. Cole Strange, gone. Darren Waller, gone. Jack Jones, gone. Rasul Douglas, gone. Ashton Davis, gone. Any hope for 2026? Gone. Make do free agents and speculative draft picks at wide receiver. A quarterback retreading might come good but might not. Plus drafting some young talent on the O-line and defense that could pan out down the road, but who may struggle on a team in obvious rebuild mode, makes the Dolphins the clear favourite to own the first overall pick in the 2027 draft. Now, they did get 7 wins last season, but all 3 teams in their division will be better, especially the Jets next season. And the Dolphins ranked 23rd for pass offense and have lost a lot of receiving talent this offseason. Ranked 17th for run offense and may not be able to run the ball as much when trailing in games this coming season. Ranked 20th for pass defense and will do well to match that level with a reconstructed secondary. And the run defense that ranked 23rd last season is likely to have plenty of work to do next season as the team protect leads by running the ball more against the Dolphins in 2026. In short, this is going to be a long, tough season for Dolphins fans, and they need to swallow this bitter pill, hoping the medicine makes them better in 2 to 3 years. Any more than 4 to 5 wins for the Finns would be a surprise to me in the coming season. They have slid down the longest of snakes in snakes and ladders terms, and that this year will be about taking the first steps back up the ladder. But the postseason is way out of sight from the bottom of that particular ladder. So that's how I see the final section of teams I've looked at. Um, Next up, I'll give you a win loss. How many wins each team's going to get next season. I'm going to be looking through the schedule and coming up with that soon, and then I'll look at potential players who might be ones to look out for in your fantasy drafts, as I have ranked higher than the consensus have them. So those pieces will be coming up soon. But that's it from me for now. See you later.